Hi, good day. Okay, so 2742, this is the course code, and then B is the version. So that is for identity with Windows Server 2016. So una, nagkaroon ng 2742 course kay Microsoft, then nagkaroon ng revision. So ito na yung latest version natin, so B. So welcome here in Microsoft course. This is a standard course. So mag-i-introduce muna ako as your instructor. So I'm Vincent L. Bambuena. I am CompTIA Network Plus and Security Plus certified. I am also Microsoft Certified Professional, Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate, Microsoft Certified Trainer, and Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert, particularly in Windows Server 2016. So I'm full-time here in EduPro, and when it comes to my technical experience, 4 years managing Windows Server and Client OS with administering roles and services. Now let's move to different series. Okay, now for the first module, installing and configuring domain controllers. So ito maganda to pag wala pang masyadong background when it comes to building a domain controller. So now in the first module, dito makikreate tayo ng from the scratch. So we will create a domain for that. Then after that, next series or module 2, managing objects in ADDS. Then module 3, advanced ADDS infrastructure management. Then module 4, implementing and administering ADDS sites and replication. Module 5, implementing group policy. Module 6, managing user settings with group policy. So paano ba tayo nagbibigay ng policy via Active Directory? And next module, securing Active Directory domain services. Since domain controller is the most important role here in our ADDS, so paano natin bibigyan ng security yung domain controller? Then module 8, deploying and managing ADCS or Active Directory certificate services. So paano naman natin ngayon i-establish yung certification authority, which is siya yung magmamanage and mag-i-issue ng mga certificates doon sa domain niya. Then module 9, deploying and managing certificates. So meron tayong deployment of web server, user certificates, computer certificates, and so on. Then module 10, implementing and administering ADFS or Active Directory Federation Services. So dito naman medyo complex na, more on business sharing of resources, pero hindi tayo magko-conduct na or magko-construct ng trust relationship between two different domains. Then module 11, implementing and administering ADRMS or Rights Management Services. Module 12, implementing ADDS synchronization with Microsoft Azure AD or Active Directory. So dito, since we're totally going to cloud, so paano yung naka on-prem natin? Paano natin siya i-integrate or paano natin siya i-connect, isi-synchronize papunta kay Azure AD? And then for the last module, monitoring, managing, and recovering ADDS. So of course, after all the implementations, before tayo magkaroon ng proper maintenance, we must monitor, of course, the environment first. Okay, now for the first module, installing and configuring domain controllers. So this is the component that defines all the object classes and attributes that ADDS uses to store data. So ano naman yung mga dinedefine ng schema natin? So kay schema, dinedefine natin yung objects na naka-store dun sa Active Directory natin. Then, only members of the schema admins group can modify the ADDS schema. Then, now what is ADDS Forest? So Forest is a top-level container in ADDS. Now, each forest is a collection of one or more domain trees. Then ADDS is a security boundary. So what do I mean? Pag sinabi kong security boundary, so by default, walang pwedeng mag-connect na object galing sa labas ng forest. Okay, so let's say itong screen na to, that is the forest. So bakit nakalagay forest root domain in a.com? So, magiging forest root domain ng isang domain pag siya yung unang-unang domain controller na pinromote sa loob ng forest. And then, meron tayo dito sa left side na tree root domain, which is publicam.com. So, ibig sabihin, na-create siya ng panibagong domain, same forest lang siya, pero separate yung domain niya. So, that is domain 3. And then, meron naman tayong child domain na tinatawag. When we say child domain, nag-base siya dun sa parent domain niya. So, meron tayong parent-child relationship. So, now, what is ADDS domain? Kasi kanina pa natin pinag-uusapan si domain. So, ADDS or Active Directory Domain Services requires one or more domain controllers. Bakit one or more domain controllers? Bakit kailangan natin ng ADDS or domain controller? Remember, domain controllers hold a copy of a database. So, ibig sabihin, kung wala kang domain controller, walang magiging database yung domain mo. So, yun yung number one role natin kay domain controller. So, bakit it requires one or more domain controllers? So, pwede kang mag-deploy ng isang domain controller, pero ang practice based on Microsoft, dapat at least 2. Bakit? Kasi single point of failure. Kung meron kang isang domain controller, pag yan nag-downtime, technically or downtime na yung buong environment mo. Unlike pag meron kang at least 2, nag-down yung isang domain controller, meron pang pwedeng sumapo ng mga services or ng mga requests. Then next, all domain controllers hold a copy of the domain database, which is continually synchronized. So continuously synchronized. For example, meron kang isang domain controller. Nag-promote ka ng isa pang domain controller, bali dalawa na sila. So initially, kung ano yung database nung kay domain controller 1, lahat yan i-replicate niya papunta kay domain controller 2. Okay? Pero hindi doon nagtatapos yun. Let's say kay domain controller 1, meron siyang object na na-modify. Let's say nag-create siya ng group. Nag-create siya ng user. So kaya sinabi continually synchronize, once na nagkaroon ng changes dun sa database niya, real time, i-replicate niya yun kay replication partner or yung domain controller. So, depende ngayon sa magiging schedule ng replication. Okay, so basta the main idea here is lahat ng changes applicable sa lahat ng domain kasi continuously yung replication from one domain controller to another. So, ganun lang yung concept. Then, the domain is the context within which user accounts, computer accounts, and groups are created. So, kumbaga, dito kasi meron tayong hierarchy. Makikita mo kung saan nag-create yung user, yung computer, or saan kinreate yung group kasi meron kang hierarchy. Then, next, the domain is a replication boundary. So, gaya na sinabi ko, once na merong domain controller, nagkaroon ng changes, replicate yan to another domain controller. Pero, ang boundary natin dito, pag same domain lang sila. So let's say meron akong domain dito, kahit 10 yung domain controller ko, magre-replicate sila to each other. Pero pag merong domain 3 or separate domain, meron din silang 10 domain controller, bahala silang mag-replicate sa sarili nila. Pero hindi pwedeng tumawid yung replication from one domain to another. No. That is the limitation. Okay? Then the domain is an administrative center for configuring and managing objects. So, ibig sabihin yung domain na to, pwede akong mag-configure ng any objects basta sa sakop ng domain ko. So now, pag different domain, hindi siya capable para mag-administer. Siyempre, hindi niya naman sakop yun. So, ganun lang kasimple yun. Then, any domain controller can authenticate any sign-in anywhere in the domain. So, para hindi kayo malito, ganito lang yan. So, kahit sinong domain controller, pwedeng mag-respond sa authentication. Kasi pag may nag-login, siyempre, kailangan ma-verify mo na yung credentials. So, kung hindi naka-up yung domain controller 1, pwedeng mag-respond si domain controller 2, 3, 4, basta same domain sila. So, yun lang yung bottom line doon. Okay. Domain controllers are servers that host the ADDS database. So, dalawa kasi yung database natin kay domain controller or kay Active Directory Domain Services. Yung isa, mtds.dit. So, andito yung pinaka-main database natin. And also, sysvol. So, kay sysvol kasi more on group policy objects. So, group policy templates. Yun nandito kay sysvol. But then, laging dalawa yan. Okay? So, it hosts the Kerberos Authentication Service and Key Distribution Center services to perform authentication. Kasi once na nag-authenticate ang user, ang client computer, ang lagi niyang hinahanap si domain controller. Bakit si domain controller? Kasi nandoon yung records niya. Yun yung magbe-verify ng credentials niya. Now, have best practices for availability. Use at least 2 domain controllers in a domain to prevent single point of failure. So at least pag meron kang dalawang domain controller, nag-down yung isa, hindi mai-interrupt yung operation. Then when it comes to security, use an RODC or read-only domain controller or BitLocker. So yung read-only domain controller, madalas to ginagamit pag let's say meron kang isang site and wala kang trusted admin na pwedeng i-assign. So ang gagawin mo, magde-deploy ka ng domain controller, RODC na lang para walang changes na pwedeng mag-originate sa kanila. Then, BitLocker naman is hardware encryption. So that's it for this series or for this module. So if you want to learn more about this topic, so pwede natin i-follow yung next video which is the module 2. And thank you.